I think I'm going to have to change it a little. I think, I should check do the thingamajigger. Set the chat filter to all messages. I don't know that it makes a difference anymore. I haven't really seen it make a difference anymore, but if you're coming in for the replay, come back in and, zoom up to 2 minutes and 30 seconds or whatever that is. I'll be right back. I got one more knife to get. And it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Welcome. Hey, what's going on, Marie? I just decided I was going to do a little bit of knife sharpening. Yeah, might as well do a live stream while I'm at it. I got a few knives that I kind of doled up. What replay? I'm just coming in because I received notification. Wow, that's cool. A lot of people haven't been getting my notifications. And I haven't been getting a lot of other people's notifications, but after I mentioned it like a couple of days ago, then I started getting notifications from like James White, Southern Draw Law, where I wasn't getting any and they would drop his videos down, way down in my feed, beyond what they were set at. Kind of bothered me. Yeah, I just went to go get another knife. I don't know if I'm going to have enough daylight to do this, but I do have my headlamp if I need it. Yeah, I'm starting on, what's this, a 325? I think that's what the grit is. Yeah, 325, and then I'll go up to a 1200. It's just a diamond stone sharp ball. Hey, how's it going, Dean? Welcome. I don't know if this is actually gonna be a great idea here, doing a live stream while I'm sharpening knives. To me, when I sharpen knives, it's kind of very, very calming and relaxing. The word wet, W-H-E-T, means sharp. And God says, if the edge is wet, the man putteth forth less effort. But if the edge is dull, he puts forth more effort. Yeah. It says 15's watching, huh? On my side it says 5. Or is it 3? Oh, now it says 8. Oh well. I don't know if I should try to move this closer or if I should try to move this. Yeah, there we go. Now I do that. Greg says you have a good stone. Yeah, it's actually a diamond stone. I got a really killer deal on it. It's a Sharpall. There's a guy on YouTube whose username is Outdoors55. If you look up Outdoors55, you'll find him. He's pretty famous in the knife sharpening world. You know, he's probably he's gone a little over the deep end with his research and looking into the science behind everything to do with knives and strops and microns, and he'll spend hours and hours and hours, actually probably like over a dozen hours, to put together one video of high resolution super magnification on the edge of the blade to show people what's going on with different kinds of steels. He goes way deeper than I would have ever gone on myself, but I do find his videos to be quite educational and entertaining. He's funny too. But Outdoors55, he had a review on the stone, and apparently most diamond stones have contamination where they're supposed to be like a 1200 grit is what my fine side is. But if they have grits that are contaminating it with, like, say 300 grit stones in there, then that's what you're getting. You're not getting a 1200 grit, you're getting a 300 grit, because it's just larger particles that slice away at the edge of the knife. And he did a really good review on this. They had a sale on it, and I used his affiliate link, and I decided I was done with all the cheap whetstones, the water stones actually. I read your comment under supervisor meeting. Oh yeah, Dean's comment under supervisor meeting was epic. Yeah, so Chad, your live stream was just completely out of the signal area today. I popped in like right as I was getting ready to transition from one part of a job to the next. I didn't really have time to sit and watch, but then I went back on later, and it was, as soon as I took my break, I went on, and it was all blacked out. All right. So I'm starting to get a burr on here. When you sharpen a knife, your main goal is to get a burr along the entire edge, because once you've got a burr on the edge, then you have come to an apex. I do not like that on part of this knife. Yep, I got the burr on the whole edge, so I'm going to set that aside and then work on these ones. Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it. This one really does need a good hard working because I used it for some construction work last week. Had to replace my back sliding door. Ooh, got it. Yeah, dang it. Had to replace my back sliding door, and I had spray foam between the frame of the door and the frame, the wood frame that I made for the door. And so I had to cut all that insulation out, so I used this because it just happens to be just big enough to get into a 2x4. And got all the way through. I used this knife to do surgery on a friend of mine one time. He did not want to go to the hospital. And I don't blame him. I'd trust me before I trusted a doctor too. I can be, this paring knife, I'm a little more aggressive than I should be. Can you describe what each are used for? Sure. So this is a paring knife. I use this mostly for, it's just a general purpose knife in the kitchen I use. Yeah, I've used it for surgery for a friend of mine. I've used it for carpentry work. It's just a really cheap stainless steel knife. It's not very expensive. It does not hold an edge for a long time, but it does sharpen to a really nice point. And this is also a paring knife, which I mainly only use for food. And this one holds an edge for a long time. It's a better steel. This one was my all-day carry for years. Just holds an edge great, and it takes an edge really well. And then this one I actually just sharpened this morning. That's my all-day, that's my everyday carry knife, and this is just a little neck knife that hangs from a sheath, you know, and it's got a little breakaway thing, so if this gets tugged, it breaks away on the back. It's got this little breakaway latch. But I pretty much, I use my knives for just about everything. I love having a super sharp knife. All of my knives are razor sharp. I can shave with them when I'm done with them. Some of them, I very rarely do I get them to hair popping sharp, but I do. And those ones I kind of like to show off when I hand somebody a knife when they need to use it. It's like, here, you use this one, but be careful, it's sharp. And I spend more time sharpening my broadheads than I do sharpening my knives. Feels like I got a burr. Maybe. I'll go a little lighter. But, and then I've got this knife here. I don't think I've ever sharpened this. It's a military K-bar. It clips onto a AR-15 or M4 handle, M4 platform, whatever. And so, yeah, it's a marine issue K-bar. Good steel. Yeah, I did sharpen it once a long time ago. But yeah, that's that's a weapon. That's not it's basically a bayonet is what they are. They're a survival tool. These serrated edges, though, they're not really that good for much. They have their place, but you know, it depends on what you're cutting. All right, so I got that one. Now I got to do this one. Raw fingers. You are, not your. Oh, yeah. My mother-in-law left the room because of the sound. Oh, the sound of the, oh, that's what I was going to ask. Is the audio any different? I'm using the same phone that I used the other day, and when the audio got really high pitched. Yeah, I heard that. It was like I was talking in a freaking can. It sounded like, you know, one of those speakers in a jail. Let me see here. Dean autocorrect changes to the wrong. You're right. Yeah, autocorrect does more of those misspellings than most people think. I still like to razz people when they spell them wrong. And then I do mine, and when I spell things wrong, I see it after I post it, and I'm just like, they know what I mean. I'll razz other people, but I won't. I'll just leave it go for myself. I'll be like, yeah, they know what I mean. It was signed by a bunch of Marines in Cuba, a K-bar. Oh, cool. Their thanks for instruction. Nice. Back in the good old days, before the infamous day that goes down in history. I have a friend of mine that gets angry when I bring it up every time. He knows the truth about 9/11. And that's kind of one of the things that I think is important to bring it up. It's a worldview. It shatters people's worldview because we're being lied to on a very large scale. But I don't like to just pull the rug out from underneath people with their worldview. I like to give them hope because there's not really hope in this world anymore. You know, when you realize that the entire world is a stage and we're being lied to and deceived in so many areas, it really, you know, people do need to find hope in Jesus Christ. He is the hope. And one of the things I like to say is the scriptures prophesied in the last days there would be a one world dominion that would have power and dominion over every tribe, people, tongue, and language. Tongue and language, same thing. Every tribe, people, and tongue. And that doesn't happen organically. It just doesn't happen like that. It's got to be planned. There has to be an agenda. You know, no organization comes by itself. You know, everything is subject to entropy in this world. There has to be intelligence behind it and a plan and a strategy, and that has to be implemented. And that's what we've seen. And it's not a very comforting thing to people's hearts because we kind of want to think that maybe our government is looking out for our best interest, but we know better than that. But he wants to get on the hopium with different political figures, and whenever we're talking about those things, I ask him, I say, hey, what does so-and-so say about 9/11? And he gets upset when I bring it up, and I'm like, come on, dude, think about it. These people are not dumb. If they truly were outsiders, if they truly were looking for our benefit, they would be blasting the horns about the criminality and the murderous genocide that's taken place and exposing the lies of 9/11. But it's something that people really don't want to face either. And you have to watch what you say on this platform because, you know what, I've got 5 viewers, it says. Intentionally and not. Retailers of lies. Yeah. Oh, that's my joke. What's your joke? Oh my, that's a joke. Oh, okay. This is really weird. I'm having a hard time getting an edge on this. I don't know why. I'm not getting an apex on this one. This one usually grabs an edge real quick. Okay, there we go. That's good enough. I don't need it perfect. I think I only have one more. And actually, this one doesn't even need this 320. Yeah, I'll do it anyway. Why not? This thing's already sharp. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm sharpening this knife. This thing is freaking super sharp. Like, I got a few knives that I just recently sharpened that I don't really need to put them on the stone again. And once you get a sharp knife, if you don't use it, you don't really need to give it another edge. You just need to touch up the edge with a strop. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So that was my 320 side. Now I'll flip it around to my 1200 side. Yeah, I got a mosquito in my ear. I wish they would just bite you and get it over with. All that singing stuff isn't even necessary. It's like they want to sing to you before they suck your blood. Most people already know, though, it's the female mosquitoes that draw blood. The males don't even have the, I forgot what it's called, that grabs the blood out of some host. One day I was working a pressure washing job. I'll tell you what, that's a rough job in a swamp area. I was running a pressure washer. Mosquitoes were nuts. They were crazy. And you can't get any mosquito repellent that's going to stay on because you're continually soaking yourself with water. And I came home and I told my wife, I said, You wouldn't believe it. There were literally thousands of females that were trying to get pregnant with me today. And she was like, what? Yeah. No, let's see. Almost silent. Where did you learn the skill of sharpening? YouTube. I'm going to be honest about it. It's YouTube. I learned most of the skills that I learned from a few different bushcraft channels, and I found Outdoors 55 maybe, oh, I want to say it was 10 or more years ago. When he had first started his channel, he was very new. He only had, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20,000 subscribers. Now the guy's, I think he's got over a million. I don't know. Outdoors 55 is his name, though, his channel name. And yeah, I actually learned most of my sharpening skills from him. I learned how to do basics from some of the other bushcraft channels, but Alex is the guy's name on Outdoors 55. He really does break things down into a much more consistent understanding for me anyway. I was able to understand much more about the purpose of keeping the angle along the whole edge of the blade and getting a burr and taking the burr off. So that one's ready for its final. I've got a couple of different strops here. Yeah. I've got another strop I haven't even used yet. I broke a key in a lock. Oh, saved me $300. I was so thrilled. I learned something useful. So how did you get the key out of the lock? I've heard of a few different ways. One of them I think was bubble gum. But you got to be able to have a really good hard grab on it. If you broke a key in the lock, usually it's kind of stuck in there. Yeah, this one's feeling good. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, this is a sharp ball. Obviously it's backwards, or upside down and backwards. How's that? Sharp ball. I really like the case too, because it's a nice stout plastic case. It's got traction on the bottom, so it grabs your surface. And one side is 325. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, 325. This side is 325, and then this side is 1200. 1200 grit. Yeah, I've still got 2 more knives. I did the 325s on all 4 of them, and then I did the 1200 on the 2. Once you get the burr on it on the 325, which is the coarser stone, it really doesn't take much time at all to kind of finely tune that edge down with the 1200. You know, and I think I can probably get one knife completely razor sharp in about 2 minutes to where you can shave with it. Well, I'm feeling something I don't like on there. But mostly when it comes to knife sharpening, you just have to put the hours in. And if it's something you don't enjoy doing, you're probably not going to get good at it. But it's something I enjoy doing, and I probably put, if I were to guess, I'd have to say 150 to 200 hours in sharpening, maybe more than that. I don't know. A rough guess, I'd say 150 to 200 hours. And you end up getting muscle memory. And it is kind of cool because each knife I put in my hands, I can feel the angle that I want to have, and it would behoove me to have a measurer, like a laser angle finder that tells you what the angle is, because I know, like, these 2 knives, although they look the same, they're both very similar in thickness and design. This one I actually use a wider apex, and this one I use a narrower apex. So this, I get a much sharper edge off of this, but it doesn't last as long. But I do it by feel, and it sounds kind of weird, but I just feel the knife itself, and even though the knives feel very close in my hands to the other, I can just feel that one of them needs a sharper, thinner edge than the other. Yeah. Now we got one more knife to go on the stone, and then I go to the strop. This one here has been my pocket knife for probably 15 years. It was my everyday carry. I keep it in my truck. Man, this thing's still got a super sharp edge on it. Oh, that's right. I put a burr on it earlier. That's why. One thing I don't like is it's got those nubs on there, and that does interfere with me getting the edge I want on the very end here. So I can't get a super sharp edge because of those nubs sticking out. They kind of force me to move the knife in a way I don't like. And that's actually one of the reasons I actually was glad to get a different everyday carry knife, because I like to keep my knife sharp, and this one has always been a trouble on the stones. Never really liked it much. Is Chad still in here? What did Dean say? Lucky for us, talking is apparently meditative. Yeah. It kind of is. Yeah, I got a friend of mine that doesn't know how to sharpen knives very well, and so he says, I don't like a sharp knife. It's like, come on, dude. Anyone that uses a knife likes a sharp knife. How could you not want a sharp knife? You don't want a sharp knife, then carry around a butter knife. I love it, being able to grab a knife and just start doing some good cutting with it. I got tomorrow off too. I might do a live stream tomorrow. I've been holding off on doing live streams while I'm driving. I think I've only done maybe one since Dean looked some stuff up for me and kind of gave me a heads up about the possible consequences. And then I just had the camera off anyway. Yep, we're done. It's only 4 knives. So here, now this is not the best buffing compound. It's the green waxy stuff. It's got particles in it, but it's not the best. But it's better than nothing. I do have a brand new strop that I have not put any particles in that I'm saving for buying the expensive stropping compound. Oh, he'll miss your comment. I'm not able to tag Chad anymore. What do you mean you're not able to tag Chad anymore? I guess Chad left. One of the things I was gonna ask her to do was to be a little more cognitive of her chat, because she will go, and I'm not exaggerating, she'll go 25 minutes without even reading her chat. Okay. Anytime you strop, you don't want to use much pressure at all, because all you're doing is you're taking off the final part of the burr. That's all you're doing, and it doesn't take much weight at all. And so this is actually the coarse side. This isn't a smooth side. This is a smooth side, real smooth. And this is a coarse side. So the coarse side is the side I use the compound on. And then after I'm done with this, I go to the smooth side. That's gonna be good. I handed one friend of mine, he had a tarp that he had on over his trailer where it had gotten damaged on the roof, and it was held by ropes, and the knot was, he didn't make a very good knot, and it wouldn't come undone. And he asked me for a knife, and I handed him his knife, and he just barely touched that rope, and the whole thing just freaking, the knife went right through it like hot butter, or a hot knife through butter. And he was scared. He said, "Whoa, dude, he's never had a knife in his hands that was that sharp before." I said, "Yeah, you have. Even if it's just a brand new Stanley blade, razor blade, that's sharper than when I make them." I've seen best testers. I don't know if you know what a best tester is, but it tests the sharpness of a knife, and there's a lot of guys on YouTube that are cheating the testers by moving them fast, and they're not doing them methodically, to make it look like they're getting their knives sharper than they actually are. But if I were to guess on a best tester, I probably on the average will sharpen my knives to about a 220 to a 250. And there are some guys like MT Knives. He's the guy that made this neck knife. He will get his knives consistently to about 130 or 120 to 130, and when he spends extra time on it, you can get them down to about an 80. At least that's what I've seen in his videos. Did Chad come back? Wait. Oh no, you're just saying in case she's here. Underdress asks, "What did you mean by you cannot tag Chad?" I had the same question. Yes, I'm heard. I think he was being fast and smart. In case no, oh, when I put the snail at, yeah, okay, the at, and then a couple of letters, it's called tagging. At chat produces no pop-up. Oh, so that's interesting, because did you put her whole username, Chad Brow or whatever it is? What is it? Hold on. It's yeah, Chad, and then BREAUX dash V9B or whatever that is. Hold on. Yeah, X9B. Yeah, because I think you got to do that whole thing. No, Chad hasn't been commenting. Yeah, I think she left. Well, her in-laws live with her, and her husband's home. And it's the end of the day. I mean, they're hanging out as a family right now. We have nothing to do. Yeah. Oh, looks like I'm running out of daylight just in time. I got one more knife to do on the rougher side of the strop, and then I can do the thin side on all of them. This knife is sharp. I actually was kind of like surprised. I had forgotten that I did sharpen it. So yeah, this one here is going to be some, it's a good knife to have. You know what pisses me off is we got states in that outlaw things like this. Like you know, it's completely illegal to have a knife that big. It's like, are you kidding me? To carry one. You know, what do you think shall not be infringed means? What do you think arms are, or weapons? The right of the people to keep and to bear arms shall not be infringed. Yep, the burr is gone. Time to get down to the nitty gritty. And this one here, it's barely, I'm barely using the weight of the knife to do this final, like, polishing of the edge. I would not think twice about using this knife on the end of a spear to take a large animal. Oh, that's what I got another knife that's a pretty cool knife. It's a handmade knife. I think it was made from leaf springs. It's a very hard steel. It takes a lot to sharpen, but and that's where the diamond stones come in really handy. And it's a double-edged knife. It's like a mini sword, really. And it's also designed to be able to go onto a staff, so you can use it as a spear, which I kind of have for survival purposes, really. That one's good. Nope, if you put the at, then you only need 2 letters. Oh, I think on the, I can't do that on the phone, on the app. You have to have a computer or a laptop to be able to get access that to where it pops their name in the box, but it doesn't work on the app. I think I've only done it once on the computer, but I used all the letters. I did not know that you only need a couple of letters. What'd you say, 2? Yeah, 2 letters. I didn't know that. That's interesting. I wonder if they're changing it now. If you can't do it, if it's not working, not showing up, then maybe it's because she left. That could be. What do I say? I always say, remember the guys that wrote that had also right to find people, because blacks, Indians, and women of all colors were not people. Oh, yeah. Well, I think they, the reason that they actually counted, and it wasn't blacks, it was slaves. The reason they counted slaves as only 3/5 of a person is because slave owners would use them for voting, and they wanted to minimize their ability to have more leverage or decision making in the outcome of a voting, the polls or whatever. At least that's the stories I heard. I have vintage steak knives that were my mom's. They still out. They still cut a steak. We use them as children, never sharpened. Oh, well, are they serrated knives like most steak knives, or do they have an apex edge like these? Do they have an edge like that, or are they serrated? I am literally running out of daylight as I'm doing this. I could sharpen knives in the dark with a blindfold on. That's one of the things I enjoy doing. Try to get my sons into it, and my older son, or my younger son, he kind of started to like the idea, but he doesn't want to put in the time to get good. It takes a lot of time. And to him, as long as he can cut his fishing line, he's okay. He loves fishing. But I've sharpened his knives before to where he was really wanting to learn how to do them that way. But then when I taught him, he didn't want to put into practice. Because you can learn. Hey, baby. You can learn how to sharpen a knife by watching videos, but you won't know how to sharpen a knife until you've gone through all of put the hours in. It's all about getting muscle memory in on your hands. And there's a lot of looking at the edge. Like, you know, when you're sharpening, when you're doing it, when you're first creating that apex, to have a magnifying glass on the edge. Yeah, this thing's already, this one, I did surgery. I use this to do surgery on a friend of mine. It's already surgical sharp again. I like that. Yes, they are serrated. I knew you would ask that, right? The screen is very dark. Yeah, it's getting that way. Hold on, let's see. If I turn it up this way, it should brighten up some. How's that? There we go. It looks a lot brighter than it actually is in the sky, but so I have completed my task. Thank you for hanging out and joining me. Did any of you guys get a notification of a live stream? I started to schedule one for tonight, and then I actually deleted it like 2 minutes after I scheduled it, because I was like, yeah, I don't really want to do that right now, because I had already started to cook it, but it was ribeye. Ribeye recipes was what I was going to call it. Barefoot and Preggers. We'd have no problems in Merca. Barefoot and Preggers. So I only received a notification for this live stream. Okay. I only had it scheduled for maybe a minute or two at the most. And what I did was I was actually making a ribeye. I've never paid more than $10 a pound for ribeye. In fact, I'm kind of upset that they're as high as they are, but I stock up over the years whenever I find good ribeye, and I usually like to get the choice ribeye or the prime. Prime or choice are my favorite cuts. But I buy a lot of them and put them in the freezer, wrap them individually. I wrap them in cellophane, squeeze all the air out, and then I wrap them in butcher paper, and they'll last for 10-15 years. I've never had one go bad. I've never gotten freezer burn, and when I thaw them out, they're just as good as when I put them in. And so I'm not really, you know, I've had ribeye roasts. I like those prime ribeye roasts. Those are delicious, but I paid anywhere from $4.99 a pound all the way up to $7.99 a pound, and now they want like $17 and $19.99 a pound for good choice or prime ribeye, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay that. But I like to get a good even marbling, lots of good marbling, and a prime cut or a choice, but prime is my favorite. And then what I'll do is I'll let it get to room temperature, and I will put a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar over each side of it. And I'll let it soak in for a little bit, then I'll flip it and put it in again. And then I'll just put lightly salt to the outside, and I'll put some garlic and then Montreal steak seasoning, and let that soak in there at room temperature out on the counter for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then I fire up the grill and I use cherry wood. I don't use charcoal. I don't use natural gas. I cook all my meat on cherry wood. It just has so it just the flavor pops. And then when I'm done cooking it, I like to cook it to medium to, yeah, medium is my favorite. Maybe slightly toward medium rare. But if you let the steak get to room temperature, then the fats that have the quicker melting temperature, the lower melting temperature, will already start to soften up. And so that when you put it on the flame, they really do fill that steak with juice. And when you've infused the seasonings into that, it really does taste great. And then when I pull the steak off the grill, I put butter on top of it, and I let just a little sliver of butter melt all over the top of it, and it's like, wow, they're very, very good eating. All right. Okay, no notification, just good luck, because I refreshed the main screen, and there you were. When I got in, it said you had been on 3 minutes. Okay. I I ate lima beans. I hate lima beans myself. An eggplant with tomato sauce. Yeah, beans, for some reason, since I was a baby, I would always gag with beans. It just, the flavor and the texture combined, it just made me have the gagging reflex. Eggplant is okay. I can take it or leave it. It's good for you, you know. It's just not one of my favorites to eat, but I do eat it. I don't even know what I pay for ribeye. I buy organic at a local family-owned farm. That's awesome. That's the best way to go. It really is. You know, I do local grocery stores here, where I get most of my uh, store-bought meat from, but I eat more venison than I eat anything else, I think. I might, well, I do the chicken, and I don't do the local chicken. I had a neighbor that had a homestead that, he gave me some chicken, and then I had another guy that has a homestead I bought some chicken from. I just never really, I don't know, I think it has to do with the breed of the bird that they use, but I eat a lot of venison. I actually had my one of my recipes um, published in a book called "We Kill It, We Grill It." In fact, if you look up that book, you'll see I have a recipe, and you'll see that Ted Nugent was one of the judges for the recipe, and for the recipes that were entered in, and he named mine as his favorite out of all the entries, which I thought was kind of cool. But whatever. I don't like Ted Nugent very much. But to have somebody with that kind of a background in deer hunting um, comment on my tenderloin recipe being the best that he had out of all of the entries, that was kind of, oh, it was kind of like rewarding, I guess. I'm trying to use up my prep supplies. I don't eat that much meat. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, just keep restocking them. Don't use them up. You need those. You will need those, Marie. You will need those. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be a lot sooner than people might want. I've been waiting for it for a very long time. Well, you know what I pay. Okay, yeah. The can was Best Buy 2024. Oh, that's nothing. I've I've eaten canned foods that were Best Buy 8 years or 10 years earlier. You know, you lose some nutrients or whatever through entropy, but yeah, you know, it's not going to go bad. I'm more concerned about my chicken broth. I make chicken broth and I slow cook it for 36 hours on low on the crock pot with carrots and celery and onions and garlic and pepper and vinegar. Extract all the minerals out of the bones. And 36 hours seems to be about the right amount of time so that it doesn't get that really strong bone flavor in it where it just kind of turns it. The flavor of the chicken broth turns at one point, and 36 hours seems to be about the number that I found on low temperature with my crock pot. But it is so robust in flavor. It's a great stock. I use it for rice. I actually cook my ground venison in with it until the venison has absorbed all of the broth, and then I use that for a variety of different things. But yeah, it's nutritional. It's very nutritional. Your mom would be horrified. Oh yeah, yeah, right. Our parents were raised to think that the date means that it's going to spoil and get you sick if it's past the date, even if it's a Best Buy date. My ex-wife, she would go nuts if something was even a couple, 3 months, 4 months past the Best Buy date. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me? You're having MRE that's 10 years old." Oh, where I get my meat, they have primal beef, which is a mixture of 80% beef, 20% liver, and heart. I started eating that. Um, okay, so I'm guessing that's ground up. They grind. So that sounds interesting. I do like the flavor of liver when it's added to something, but straight liver by itself, I've just never been a fan. I'll bet you that would be good. Primal beef. Interesting. I made bone broth twice. It was so delicious. I believe I cooked that for at least 12 hours. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I try to get as much nutrient rich food as I can because I make up for the crap that I eat because I do eat crap food sometimes. My latest vices are M&Ms and M's and Hostess. Poison, right? M&M and Hostess. Poisons. But I like this K-bar because it's got the Molly strap, so I can hook this up to my um, backpack when I go camping and hiking. Anyhow, everything's starting to get too dark here. Let's see what this does. There we go. Oh, there, now you can see me. Not that you want to see me. Turn my head around. Now I can get. I'll be right back. Yeah, battery on my other phone's about to die. Let's see what we got here. Why deny your well? Hold on, did I miss something? At a certain age, why don't buy yourself something you like? Quite a fewer customers request it, so it's become very popular. Okay. Why deny yourself? Talk to text again. It does, but talk to text does better than your fingers. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's see. I'm gonna put that up, and then I'm gonna flip this over here and take that off. I had it on a gimbal. Ooh, frogs are barking. Hmm. I wonder. I just put that brand new door in last weekend. Of course, it's not going to pick it up because it's not bright enough to get any kind of detail. Oh, you get to see my messy house. Oh, I shouldn't do that. Dang it. Oops. Messy. I just spilled coffee. Why didn't this? Okay. That should lock in. There we go. Gimbal's kind of fun, kind of cool, but it's kind of not. I like how they stabilize things, but I can never get them controlled the way I would want them to be controlled. And they take a long time to set up. At least that's how I see them. I got my gimbal stuff in here. This is the case I bought for my Osmo 7P. And then I've been having problems with, where is it, right here, the multifunction device. It's been 7 months to get this thing warranted or warranted or whatever, and I sent this away because it was having problems losing the pairing with my mini mic. That's a mini mic. And they said they fixed it and they tested it, and I found that was a lie. Right out of the box, it didn't work. So I have to get another return slip and send it back and wait another 2 months for them to return, and it probably won't work. I don't know what the deal is, but I'm not happy with these technological things. You keep blinding us with the headlamp. Yeah, I took it off, okay? Oh, are you getting the bars straight across? That's kind of cool. Do 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 do. That's what police officers like to do with guys that are recording them. They shine their flashlights right into their camera lens. It's like, oh yeah, thanks. What do they call it? The First Amendment auditors call it a prior restraint or something. I think I do not consent. Ossifer, yeah. I do not consent. I had a friend of mine ex-friend of mine who was a Crook County deputy in Chicago, Illinois. And he worked for the jail, and then he got on the SWAT team. It's interesting, about a year before COVID-19, they recruited a whole bunch of people from the jail to enter into the SWAT team. He'd been working there for 23, 24 years and never, ever was advanced and to do anything other than an entry-level job because he would not join the Square and Compass Club. And so he couldn't go up in rank. They don't let you go up in rank if you don't join their club. And but all of a sudden, they just out of the blue, they started recruiting people for the SWAT team. It might not have been a whole year. It was probably like 10 months before COVID-19. And then, of course, it was obvious why, because when COVID hit, then they pulled out all these new recruits into the from the SWAT team to show have a show of force for the cameras for TV. That's all it was for the TV. But I had already been learning about the compromises that police officers make and how they violate their oath and break their oath and stuff. And and that was kind of the beginning of the end of our friendship, because I began to confront him with some of his compromises, if you will. You know, he joined what do they call it, a special unit called Gangs and Guns, where they were going around confiscating firearms from people that were citizens, or, well, not citizens, but you know what I mean. They were people of the United States that hadn't committed any crimes with firearms that deserved them to be incarcerated, but just owning a firearm, he was going around door to door confiscating. But I think I did a figure that he was gonna he was stood to make, if he lived to be 75 years old, he stood to make about $2.7 million in pension, which is why he hung out there as long as he did. But I told him, I said, they train you to yell, "Stop resisting." And I said, and I've been trained to yell, "I do not consent." It's something he didn't really laugh about because he knew it was true. Oh, I love a sharp knife. I'm sitting here playing with my knife. One thing I do like about this knife is it's really handy to open. It opens smooth. It's not really loose. I don't like knives that open loose. You know, it's got a nice, the little nub is I got a love-hate relationship with that thing. I like it because it does allow me to open it up, but I don't like it for sharpening because it kind of gets in the way. But, and this is just a cheap knife. It's a Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson put their name on like a Chinese thing. Yeah, I think you might be able to see Smith & Wesson on it. Yeah. And I think I paid like $20 for it, just a kind of a cheap knife. But man, this thing's lasted close to 20 years now. And it's in great shape. And my son found one that was exactly identical to this, but didn't have the name Smith & Wesson on it. But obviously it was from the materials, it was the exact same knife. And he got it at like Harbor Freight or something for $4 or $5. And it looked like it's the same steel. How do they make something like this for $4 or $5? I don't get it. Man, is that sharp. Huh. Ooh. Yeah, that one's hair popping. Cool. Hmm. Anyway, I'm gonna get out for the live stream here. I gotta go clean a few things up and get myself to bed. So thanks for joining. You guys have a good night.